Today we're taking you inside the World Pokemon Championships.
Learning how to be the best in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
This is the IGN Show. Hello and welcome to the IGN Show. I'm William Haynes. This is Alanah Pierce, and today's episode is all about competition. It's like the wise man once said, if you're not first, you're last.
Who said that?
William Haynes.
Oh. Well, coming up, we've got two bid fights. First, Miranda and I will compete to see who's the best in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and then the staff will race to Hyrule in Breath of the Wild.
Plus, we'll have our first ever game debate where all the big issues will be settled, like whether or not Pokemon is a good game.
But first, it's time to talk about a subject that is near and dear to our hearts. Pokemon.
Without a doubt, the biggest Pokemon event of the year is the World Championships.
Whether you play the video games or the good old-fashioned trading card game, there are battles to be fought and friends to be made.
And I got to go down to Anaheim for the big event. Check it out. Hello everyone, reporting from the Pokemon World Championships 2017 in Anaheim. Now you might be wondering, what might you get if you were a contestant in such an event? Well, I have the answer. This is it right here, exclusive to Anaheim 2017 contestants. This is your bag. Let's see what's inside of here. I'm gonna open it up. A beautiful scarf. Oh man, look at that. If I was to wear it, it'd be like this. It looks awfully Slytherin on me. It's a Pokemon trading card game map. Don't play on your kitchen table. Play right here on your map, straight from the Pokemon World Championships 2017 in Anaheim. A double-sided deck box. If you got one of these, every single one of your Pokemon trading cards has a place in your heart and in solidarity. This feels like a friend. An exclusive Pikachu from the Anaheim 2017 World Championships. A hat. If you're really feeling like your Pokemon are it and lit, you could wear it the sideways. Oh, this is one of those things you use to clean screens. You might want to clean that screen so you can play pristine. 65 card sleeves. Your whole deck could be sleeved out and kept pristine for the years to come with this. You're gonna be able to find your luggage so much faster when you have a World Championships 2017 Anaheim Pokemon luggage tag. A Pikachu pin. This is gonna make your clothes look legit. Official Pokemon cards from the World Championship 2017. Now, the cards in here are not identified. They have one shielding in front, so you can't see exactly which random selection of cards you got, but there are for sure a good selection, a thick amount of cards in here. We don't know, it could be a Charizard, it could be a Mega Pikachu, it could even be a 2x evolved Mewtwo. So if you were a contestant in the 2017 Pokemon World Championships in Anaheim, you could have had all these things, but you didn't apply yourself. You're at home on the couch now.
We'll have more from the Pokemon World Championships next week. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is an incredibly fun and super intimidating online multiplayer game. In a nutshell, it's you versus 99 other people, and in the end, only one person is left standing. I've had more than my fair share of chicken dinners, and who better than to coach Alanah and Miranda when they wanted to jump into the fray.
On this episode, Miranda and Alanah will take their first plunge into PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds to see who can get the most kills in 30 minutes. Since neither player has that much experience with the game, they will be coached by our resident PUBG expert, James Duggan. Who will be the queen of the Battle Royale? Let's find out. On your mark, get set, and let's bid fight.
All right, so it's Alanah's turn. She's jumping straight into the crater, which is a notoriously high-intensity zone for the start of the game. Oh, wait. Yeah,
What did I do?
Okay,
What did I
jump down, get right behind them. Yep, there you go. Do
Oh,
it.
nice.
Yeah, right away, right at the start. Look at that. That's so great. We have to get the pan because they're good luck, and they also block bullets.
And a pan.
They're perfect butt armor.
Oh.
There's a bunch of shots, so hit escape. You are on single,
In
so
that
hit B
window
one more
right
time.
there. Can I get him through the window?
Oh, totally. If he looks, but we're just gonna sneak to the outside of the house. Come to the left. To the left. Oh, shoot him! Yeah! Woo!
I was not prepared for that at all.
So, if we rewind back like a minute, I said you should pick up the pan for good luck. And if you actually listen, there's
Yeah, heard it.
All right, now shoot off a couple shots. All right, cool. Now maybe reload. We're going to see if that attracts any attention. There's a vehicle. No, there we go, there we go. Okay, we're going to wait. That guy's going to get in that vehicle, aim right at the driver's side window. Aimed outside right now.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Go. Good. Short control burst. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. You're doing great.
Come on, your aim seems so on point.
Oh, you're doing so well. Keep running. Keep running. Hold on. It's possible he'll stop.
All right, there's still more gunshots around here.
You got some guys over here. Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. That's somebody. So you're going to want to go semi-auto, or you're just going to want to sneak up on him and go fully auto.
Sounds like there's also someone coming behind you.
So remember, you're going to be on single fire here. I would say just get in there. There you go. Get in there. Get in there. Get a kill. He's going to be focused on something else.
Wait.
Go, get in there. You're good. You're good. You're good. Semi-auto.
Oh, he was looking at you through the window. He's ready for you.
Shoot. Shoot.
Go, 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 go.
Yes!
I did it!
All right. That is time. Miranda with 1 kill on Thick Daddy. What a great name. Thank you so much,
Thick Daddy.
With 2 Qs. Oh, you were just getting dirty now. All right, so that was Miranda and Alanah's kind of first foray into PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. How do you feel you did? Did you learn things? Did you enjoy?
Well, I was very disappointed. Watching Alanah, I learned that I need to go into very populated areas. The problem I think with us is we learned in places that had maybe 2 or 3 people.
Well, you did. I dropped into the same place the last match that you did the first match.
And there was
so I feel like it kind of is random. Like it's a little unfair on that you don't know what you're going to get into. But I also like that because you could drop somewhere and there was a moment where I was dropping in and I saw 5 other people. It's like, oh, this is going to be crazy. Where you kind of don't know what to expect.
Yeah. So that's I think would be my next goal is like finding better populated areas. Praying for something that's not a pistol.
That was a lot of fun, James. You got to teach me sometime.
Hey, no problem. $50 an hour. Coming up on the IGN Show, we'll review Sonic Mania, which looks and sounds like it was made for the Sega Genesis. And we'll tell you what older games you should be playing in Throwback Thursday.
And try not to get blasted by Guardians as we race to Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the IGN Show. It's Throwback Thursday, so that means it's time for us to talk about the games you might have missed. They're not the latest, but they are the greatest. Here are some older titles that you definitely need to check out. Dragon Age Inquisition was our 2014 Game of the Year winner, and if you haven't played it, this game really raises the bar for excellence in design of modern role-playing games. This massive open world is full of breathtaking vistas, nuanced characters, political drama built upon rich lore, and of course, battles with huge beasts. In the dozens or hundreds of hours you can spend completing its grand storyline and rich side quests, this BioWare epic entrenches itself as one of the greats. Ori and the Blind Forest harkens back to the glory days of Xbox Live Arcade by delivering challenging platformer gameplay wrapped in an absolutely beautiful visual aesthetic and topped by a sweet, somber story starring a charming lead. It will test your will at times, but such trials are well worth it. If you're looking to pick up your Nintendo 3DS again, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D proves that interesting game design and strong world building never get old. More than 15 years later, it still delivers charming characters, tense moments, and a world rife with personality. Portal will always be a fun game to go back to. The bizarre, physics-breaking puzzles create a constant sense of mind-bending vertigo, an impression heightened by the haunted, sterile laboratory setting, the isolation, and most of all, the constant taunting of GLaDOS, one of gaming's best villains.
You're doing very well.
The synthetic female voice echoing through the empty halls creates a fascinating, lasting discomfort that grows as you venture deeper into Aperture Science. Shovel Knight is a game that truly understands what retro gamers want. It understands exactly what it is, copying plentiful inspiration from the past while forming it all into its own game. It lasts longer than your typical throwback, and all of that time is well spent. It plays brilliantly, looks stunning, and sounds great. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is one of my personal favorites to go back and play at least once a year. This was my first stealth game, and I never tire of the soundtrack. A true video game classic.
While we're on the subject of throwbacks, we have to talk about Sonic Mania. The iconic hedgehog is back, and this time he's got to look straight out of the 90s. That's because Sega hired Sonic mega fans, indie developers who work for years on fan projects, to remix classic levels and create all new ones to feel retro. Here's our review of Sonic Mania.
Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are back to fight Eggman's forces the best way they know how. Running, jumping, spin dashing, flying, and gliding their way to victory across 12 zones. You'll see classic zones from Genesis-era the Sonic games, but they're bigger, more elaborate, and filled with traps and gimmicks that tickle your nostalgia bone and leave you totally wowed. Sonic Mania is a feast of classic 2D art. Reworked Sonic stages look more beautiful than ever, while the new zone's art style meshes perfectly with the iconic look of classic Sonic. Everything has more detail and animation, giving Sonic and friends, along with their enemies, a lot of personality, despite zero dialogue. The soundtrack is also top-notch, packed with remixes of classic Sonic tunes alongside all new compositions. Sonic Mania has all the elements that go into making a great Sonic adventure. Big, elaborate stages, responsive controls and movement physics, interesting and engaging gimmicks, lots of hidden nooks and crannies to discover, and tricky hazards that challenge you to stay alert and act fast. As great as Sonic Mania is, it does make a couple of missteps. The developers have done their best to pack a lot of nostalgia into the game, but it's really the new elements of Sonic Mania that are the most memorable and exciting. Chances are that if there was something you saw in an old Sonic game, it's in Sonic Mania somewhere, even if it wasn't a particularly good element of an old Sonic game. For example, it's neat to see a callback to Sonic 2's Sky Chase Zone. But the forced auto-scrolling and wonky controls in Sky Chase Zone were not very fun then, and they're still not that great now. And while the game's boss fights are generally pretty cool, some of them, like the Studiopolis mid-boss, have a tendency to drag. And sure, Sonic games didn't have checkpoints between multiple bosses before, but it would have been nice to add them to Sonic Mania. Still, even when Sonic Mania stumbles a bit, it's just little speed bumps on the road. It doesn't take long before you're enjoying yourself again, eagerly anticipating what sort of wacky wonders the game will throw at you next. It truly is the classic throwback longtime series fans have been clamoring for. But there's plenty to love here even if you didn't grow up with the Genesis. Sonic Mania is a stellar example of a retro revival done right.
Remember to DVR the IGN Show because we've got so much game coverage every weekday, and today is no different. Our first ever game debate, and the IGN team competes to see who's worthy of carrying the Master Sword in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the IGN Show. The IGN offices are jam-packed and overflowing with two things: toys and opinions. Now, we can't ever solve that toy problem, but we can work out those opinions in game debate. Okay, here's how it's gonna work. I'm the moderator, and James and Alanah will try to convince me that they're right. Today, they'll be debating about a little subject that everybody has an opinion on: Pokemon. There have been more than a dozen Pokemon video games made, but the question is it a good game? James, let's hear your opening statement.
Strongly against. And by that I mean no, Pokemon are not good games. And I'm talking about the core Pokemon RPG series, and the reason why I think that is because the gameplay is overly simplistic.
Okay.
I'm a gameplay first guy, and when you get in there, whether it's the first hour, it's your introductory moments with Pokemon Sun and Moon, for example, or let's say you're 20 hours into the game, you are not making interesting choices. The battle, you are choosing your strongest attack. You are not following that up with combos. There's not a lot of thought process going into it. The only thing that you do have to think about is elemental type, rarity, stuff like that, and I think that is overly simplistic. But people would say, well, there's the competitive side of Pokemon. Now, the competitive side of Pokemon is borderline incomprehensible. Complex, EVs, IVs, all these things, it takes forever to get to. You literally have to beat the Elite Four and do a bunch of other stuff in Pokemon Sun and Moon to get there. And then when you do get there, sure, maybe it gets interesting. But the hour investment is so large to see the first glimmer of interesting choices in Pokemon, and I feel all the Pokemon RPGs are like that.
Interesting point. Seriously, Alanah, you're up.
Well, from the get-go, there are over 800 Pokemon. From those Pokemon, you have to pick a team of only 6, each of which has 4 moves. You have to make a decision about what types you want those to be. Some have multiple types, some only have one. How balanced you want that team to be, what TM/HMs you want each Pokemon to have, and then what skills you want to level up. So you can choose to feed them certain vitamins, to give them extra special attack, to give them extra defense. And then there's EV and IV training. So I think from the get-go saying that Pokemon doesn't have a lot of depth is just way off. There's 800 of them and you have to choose 6. That's an enormous level of choice. And I would think it's most probably statistically impossible that anyone in the world could have the exact same team of base Pokemon as you because of the way that the stats work in game and how breeding works as well, if you want to get into that. I'd say competitive is not actually that hard to get into, especially when there's so many guides available online. You don't necessarily have to beat the Elite Four to get into competitive Pokemon. You can do it from the get-go. You can ignore the entire main base game and just get into training if you want to. Otherwise, there is that intense layer of choices where you have thousands upon thousands of choices every single time. Like, certain Pokemon give you certain stat boots if you beat them, so you can run away if you don't want that effect. It's very in-depth.
I think those choices don't matter. I think your choices are not impactful. You could be doing things like having Pokemon that stun and they get double damage on a move when they follow up a stun. There's so much more they could be doing with this series, but instead, every single time they release a new Pokemon game, they take me through the first 10 hours. All I'm doing is pressing A through this monotonous dialogue and this crazy tedious opening segment. And then once you get to competitive Pokemon, maybe you start making some choices.
Alanah, how do you feel about what James says about the difficulty? Do you feel like it doesn't increase every time you fight a gym leader?
I mean, it absolutely depends on what you do. If you really want to get into a more complicated thing, you beat the Elite Four in Sun and Moon, and there's an incredibly hard part after that if you don't know Pokemon strategy very well, it'll absolutely kick your butt.
The debate is over, and it's time to decide a winner. Well, honestly, I think it's both of you. We all won. Pokemon might not be the game for everyone, but it is for some of you.
You know, the participation award is appropriate because Pokemon is the participation award of video games.
Find out who's the real master of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Find out who the champion is right after this.
Welcome back to the IGN Show. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is great for so many reasons, and one of them is that you can decide when you want to head to Hyrule Castle and fight Ganon. It's your decision. But going too early is a huge challenge, so much so that the IGN crew decided to see who could make it there the fastest, with little more than sticks and the will to win.
Okay, so I'm told the fastest way to Ganon's castle is a straight line, which is what I plan to do.
So instead of crashing through the main gates, I'm going to try and go on the side if I can.
All right, I am going to actually leave here. And even though I do want to be as fast as I can getting in the castle, it's really important to have healing items, and especially since there's like no hearts or armor.
I like to do this. I like to do anybody. Oh, snap! What is that? Oh! Just dead immediately? Wait, what?
I feel like I have a slight advantage.
All right, so it's just right there. Oh, it hurts! Don't die in the goo! Dodge! Dodge! No! I was there. I was at the castle gates.
Need some Master Sword. I can do it easy. Come on, good stuff. All right, I can deal with that.
Ah. Get out of bees. Even got some extra stuff to cook. Oh no! The fire!
I'm gonna take the high route here. Straight line. Oh! Dang it. You can talk the talk, but I couldn't walk the walk.
Okay. Central Square. This has got to be a record here. Just hide in the fountain for a little bit. Breathe. Breathe, Link. Look at this. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I don't want to watch.
We're going to go off at the top of this peak over here. Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Run! Run! Link, run! Ugh!
If he doesn't come back around, I think he'll be fine. Okay, going all right so far. Pretty good. Yep. Okay. I think I'm good. Up, up, up. Okay. I made it. That was a very roundabout effort, but I did it.
Step 1. Get an axe. Step 2, cut the tree down. Step 3, stasis the tree. Step 4, find something to hit it with. Step 5, step 6, get on and blast off. We made it. The end.
Oh, I'm really scared that I'm gonna die if I. Oh, is the blood moon? Don't tell me it's a blood moon. Nope. Oh, ooh, cutscene. Ooh, I made it.
Thanks for watching. That's our bit fight for today. Check out more episodes on IGN.com to see what other crazy challenges we put our staff up to, like our blindfold challenge, making 2 players split 1 controller, and plenty more. On the next episode of the IGN Show, we've got an exclusive preview of Assassin's Creed Origins and everything you need to know about getting into competitive Pokemon.
Plus, we'll review the new standalone Uncharted adventure, The Lost Legacy. Nathan Drake is riding the bench in this new story.
And the developers of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare will take you inside their latest Zombies campaign.
That's it for today's show.
So remember to keep it locked to IGN and check out the IGN app.
Thanks for watching. See ya.